Welcome back. This morning, we've been covering the growing calls for Maine Democratic Senate candidate Graham Plattner to drop out of the race after a woman accused him of sexually assaulting her. The woman detailed her allegations to Politico in a series of 3 interviews over the past 2 weeks. Now, Graham denies the allegations, calling them, quote, troubling, serious, and false. Still, top Democrats who backed Plattner through a number of previous controversies during his campaign have now begun rescinding their endorsements. Meanwhile, last night, former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy suggested Republicans are different and would never cozy up to a candidate who faced accusations of sexual abuse. Let's take a look.
Look, we're celebrating 250 years.
Yeah.
The one thing I know about Republicans, when we had a very bad candidate and found out, we didn't vote for that person.
Right.
We walked away.
For better or for worse.
Yeah. When Matt Gaetz came forward, we got rid of him.
Now, he's talking about Gaetz there, I think, when Gaetz was Attorney General nominee. But remember, Gaetz as a congressman wasn't voted out. The Republicans didn't back away from him. And more than anything, that's the same Kevin McCarthy, let's remind everyone, who flew to Mar-a-Lago just days after the January 6th insurrection for a photo op with President Trump, who was found civilly liable for sexually abusing and defaming advice columnist E. Jean Carroll. Trump also, of course, bragged about how he treated women in that Access Hollywood tape back in the 2016 campaign. Let's now bring in contributing opinion writer for the New York Times, Molly Jong-Fast, and also the editor of New Republic, Michael Tomasky. MS Now contributor Elise Jordan back with us as well. Thank you all for being here. Molly, let's start with you on the Plattner issue. We can set aside McCarthy's absurd hypocrisy. Let's just focus here. This woman obviously very brave in coming forward and telling her story here. And it's one that seems to be, for many Democrats, the breaking point in their support for Plattner. What do you think happens next?
So, look, this is a Maine election that takes place in Maine that the people of Maine vote in. And so the big question, I think, is we saw already from that Times piece that the people of Maine, his numbers were going down, right? We saw the polling that his Maine numbers were down. And so now the question is, and the Times piece didn't have necessarily, it seemed as if it was sort of nipping around the edges, but it didn't have an allegation like this, which is this full, substantial,
Well, it did have him putting her in a room and holding her captive, which I don't know, and grabbing her a lot.
I know.
But
I mean,
it's
it's not
interesting to me, the media debate over this, over what constitutes enough.
It is not up to me to constitute what is enough. I think it's up to the voters of Maine. And we saw these polls after that Times story came out that said they were starting to really...
His fundraising started to fade, too.
Right. And so then the question is, and again, look, with this story, as someone, I mean, what she says in this story is that she is... I mean, the misogyny that I found in the story was this poor woman is saying it was non-consensual when it was obviously rape. And she couldn't say that, because she was, trying to protect him to some extent. So in my mind, this is a really serious, as a woman and a mother of a daughter, as serious as it gets. And you see in, the ways in which the culture, this victim is protecting this man. So in my mind, this is, but it's not up to me because I don't even live in Maine. It is up to the voters of Maine.
So, Michael, let me go to you with, I'm just fascinated with this, horrified really, in terms of just what constitutes a red flag in terms of coverage of a political candidate. You have the first time story being pretty much dismissed in a lot of quarters because the accuser, the victim, had a past of working for right-wing causes. And then certainly these allegations are more extreme of breaking into her home and raping her. But why were the first round of accusations that were pretty egregious and terrible not seen as enough of a character flaw to be disqualifying?
That's a really fair question. Those were bad and really, really disturbing allegations. But I think people at that time, a lot of people, including me, I admit, felt that we needed to weigh those against what appeared to be the will of the Democratic voters of Maine, who were very solidly behind Graham Plattner and you know, who nominated him to the Democratic to nomination by a massive margin. So, you know, there were things like that to weigh. There's not much to weigh here. This is a credible allegation of rape. You know, not of physically accosting a woman and locking her in a room. A credible allegation of rape. That's different. In a court of law, he'd be entitled to the presumption of innocence, and we'd have to wait for his day in court. A Senate campaign isn't a court of law. It's a political campaign, and we're entitled to make judgments based on what's best for the party and what he should do that would be best for the party. He should go.
And yes, it's worth reiterating that his, to this point, had been rather resilient. He had managed to stay afloat here. This one does feel different. A lot of Democrats calling for him to drop out. Rumors he may do just that in the days ahead. We, of course, will be following this story.